Good morning, all viewers or listeners. Welcome back to the episode of Family Matters. I'm hoping that everybody is doing well. Before I continue, I would like to express heartfelt condolences to the family and friends and loved ones of the persons from Sufre. And this topic will be indeed fitting for the family members. Again, the Division of Human Services, Ministry of Equity, we do express our condolences, and our doors are open for you persons who need further counseling, further assistance. So our doors are open. Okay. Good morning to all our listeners. Good morning to the my colleagues from Human Services, wherever you are. Good morning to all my listeners everywhere. We first this morning, we do have a familiar face you see all the time. And this is, of course, Miss Wilson. She will introduce herself again and tell you what topic we will be discussing. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Miss. It's always a pleasure to be here with you on Family Matters. But it's not only the family of Sufre, but family of Choiseul also.
Oh, my apologies indeed. Yes,
Very
family
much
of
so, but that's
Choiseul.
okay.
Yes.
We Choiseulians always are quite,
And funny enough, I'm from Choiseul.
you know.
So my apologies. It really hit when I was at the funeral on Friday. That I saw a lot of pain, a lot of grief. So my apologies, Choiseul. Of course, I am a Choiseulian, and condolences to you, the family of Z, and of course, our doors are open to you as well. Yes.
So my name is Louisa Wilson. I work with the Education and Communications Unit of the Ministry of Health. And one of my responsibilities is to go out there in the community, speak to persons. And when Miss Bodimet called me, and I decided, this is one of the things that have been going on. The topic that we chose is one of the things that have been plaguing our community for a while now. And persons do not know how to cope. So we decided on this particular topic, and I hope that this particular topic can really help our listeners out there, family members, friends, community members. And it's, because you hear it on the ground, you hear persons talk about it. You see the different coping mechanisms that they use, and we're hoping that persons can, take a different direction. And that is why we are here to speak about grief and to help persons understand a little bit better on what it is, how they can cope, and so on. And we want community members to exercise a level of empathy towards persons that are going through the process. And all of these things we need to think about, because I think on Monday, in speaking to the mental health nurse, one of the things he was saying is that until it has not reached your doorstep, you don't fully understand what someone is going through, family members, friends, loved ones, even your enemies at the time, feel the pain too. So that is why we decided on this topic. Right, Ms. Bodimet?
Most definitely, yes. And something you commonly hear when someone is grieving, even I too, and I'm happy you made the point that until it doesn't hit your doorstep, you will not understand. Because I always use the example of a colleague of mine, her daughter passed away. And there was another colleague of mine who was crying and for years. And in my mind, I didn't say it out to her, but in my mind I was like, but so long.
The person died.
Why she's just still crying? And until I lost a loved one,
Mhm.
my friend passed away suddenly, that I did not understand. And for years, I could not talk about it. I could not mention the name without crying. So then I fully understood what it really means. And something else, persons believe that when someone does not cry, they're okay. They're
Mm.
strong. The person who is crying, that's what they need to be concerned about. And of course, Ms. Wilson will tell us the signs to look for,
Mhm.
and or when somebody is grieving, what to look for.
So one of the things is about grief is that it has many definitions, and when we look at grief, we look at more losing a loved one through death, and many times we don't understand. We choose not to understand what it is,
Can
but
I ask?
mhm,
Sorry, I'm not sure if you're going to touch on it, but
mhm.
is grieving only when you lose a loved one for death?
No,
Okay.
and that is what a lot of people don't understand.
Yes.
It can be, you get a divorce. It is a major life change, and a lot of people grieve. They suffer with grief because of that, and especially sudden deaths through accidents, through trauma. A lot of people, that is when it really hits people, and that is what it is. So it's not only through death. It can be a divorce, it could be a sudden life change, it can be financial difficulties, and so on. But people don't understand that concept. When we look at grief, we only look at it as if it's death, but it's not only death. Yeah. And I remember I myself, as an individual who lost a loved one just over a year ago, like Miss Bodimet was saying, when you don't cry, these are the people you must really look after, and so on. And somebody like me, I did not cry one bit, and I can tell you, it carries. I mean, for years to come, and it changes you as an individual. From my own experience, it changes your personality, it changes the way you see life, your behavior changes. For me, these are what I go through, and I can tell you, my sleep pattern changes, the way, sometimes I would just phase out. And these are the things that you go through as an individual. That is how I, as an individual, went through the grief process. And some people might have it different. And some of the things that people can feel is that they want their loved ones to be by them. They feel the yearning that that person needs to be by them. Like they always feel that the person is next to them. So they will probably hold a conversation with that person and the person is nowhere near. And this happens. You understand? The longing. I can tell you, every time I come from work and I'm on my bed, I miss the fact that my sister knocks open, sit down in the doorway, and we talk about our day's event, what plans we have, and so on. You miss that. And that is all part of grief.
So, question: if you were, as a friend, as a family member, you were to find somebody speaking to their loved one who is not there, somebody who passed away, should you be concerned about this person?
It all depends, because sometimes I find, for me, Renita, counseling is readily available, and I don't think I could have made it without the counseling part. Many people see you and they feel, I'm not going to counseling, I'm not going crazy, I'm not this, I'm not that. Sometimes speaking to yourself makes it feel better, much better. Like, I would say, like just recently I said to my father, When my sister comes down, ask her to take out the clothes out for me because I'm walking down the road. So in my mind, she's still there. And my sister died a year ago, a year plus. And I'm saying to my father who sat down in the balcony, when my sister come down, just have her to take out the clothes for me. Daddy, please tell her I went down the road by my aunt. Not knowing that my sister, at the time, I figure she's still there with me. Sometimes speaking to yourself makes it feel better. Sometimes you need a little bit more than that, and you need the help of a professional. Yes, and that is where counseling really work wonders for some of us. Some of us really feel at first I'm saying I don't need counseling. I do not need counseling. Why do I need counseling? I can deal with it. But no, there are certain little things that you feel like the intense emotional pain and so on. Sometimes you need to speak to somebody about it. The person might just listen. And when I go to the counselor, all they do is just listen to me and off and on ask a few questions, you know, and that is it. And it makes me feel better when I come out. So sometimes the professional help, which most of us tend to feel that we do not need, goes a long way in in helping us recover from that process. Yeah, some of us, it will take years, but it helps gradually. Gradually. So sometimes we have emotional numbness. We don't feel anything anymore. Somebody will, like, something happened to somebody and like we don't even feel that person pain. We don't feel anything. We don't connect to people anymore like we used to. And these are some of the symptoms. And I can tell you, like, I would hear somebody sick and so on, and then I'll comfort the person. But like the way I would feel, like I say, oh my God, that person is so sick, and I know I will not feel that kind of emotion anymore. You understand? So these are the things you can feel: the emotional numbness. You don't feel connected to people. You don't feel that connection to your loved ones like before, and so on. Even the simple thing like hugging your loved ones, you tend to stray away from it. You tend not to show people love like before, and so on. These are things that you really go through. So people, different people, that is, but these are some of the symptoms: the emotional numbness, like feeling like you've lost part of yourself. And let me tell you, feeling like you've lost part of yourself is so true. Because you know what? There are things that I wouldn't have done for myself. I would have depended on my sister to do it for me. Simple things. And now I feel that, I mean, that is part of me that is lost. Yes, even my wardrobe, the way I comb my hair, all of these things, these are the things like on a morning before I go to work, my sister used to comb my hair. I'm fine which clothes that I'm wearing before I go to work. And if I wear an outfit, oh, she would, criticize what kind of clothes am I wearing and so on. And now I find that I've lost that part of myself. And up to this morning, I was speaking to a loved one of my in fact, my child father. And I'm saying, even now, I've lost myself in even the way I dress. I don't have that care and the love I used to have to dress up and to take care of my body anymore, because these are the things that she used to do for me. So I actually lose that part of myself. Now it takes time and it's over here and I've not gotten it back. So all of these things are symptoms like persistent depression. And let me tell you, depression can come just as quick and we don't realize it. And I tell people, when it comes, we need to realize we need to get help. Even if it's like, you don't sleep properly. And I can tell you, I know when I'm starting to feel depressed. There are different signs that I would know. Like, I don't want to brush my teeth. And that is it. So I know, okay, Louisa, something is happening. You need to get some assistance. And these are the things, persons that, go through grief. These are the symptoms that people feel. They withdraw from typical social activities. They don't want to go and, like, if your favorite thing was going to country and western, and all of a sudden, me, I'm not going, I'm staying home. And it's over a year you have not gone to a little country and western, or you don't even play a little country and western on a Sunday at your home. These are the signs people need to really look for. And one of the things is a difficulty in accepting the death. A lot of people do not want to accept it. They don't want to acknowledge that that person is no longer with them. And these are some of the symptoms, Renita, that we really, really need to look for.
Or they feel a bit guilty.
Guilty.
They feel very guilty, like what I should have done this and I should have done that, or
Mhm.
because I did not do this, or they lay blame. Blame, where they
So-
blame somebody for the death.
So that would be like the stages of grief.
Yes.
The stages of grief is, the first thing is denial.
Yes.
And I can tell you, even when somebody is sick with a condition, a medical condition like cancer, or even simple things, you tell people, they're in denial. They do not want to accept the fact that that person has a condition that will lead to death. And denial follows when that person die. A typical example is that when I speak to I used to tell my niece, your mommy is sick with cancer. And she used to ask me, Titi, what is wrong with my mommy? And I said, your mommy has cancer. And she's in denial every time. Even when I tell my father that my sister has cancer, every time you tell him that, it's like that's the first time he's hearing it. And far less for when the person passed away. It's like they cannot understand that the person is no longer with them. They plan their life as if the person is still alive. And denial is accepting that the loss is there. That is one of the stages of grief. Denial is the first thing. And when the denial comes, my goodness, it is like anger. Anger is another one. They direct it at you. They direct it at everybody else. Just because, somebody passed away that is close to you and you decide to laugh, it gets some people, those persons that are,
Really saddened.
yes, they get upset at you because you're laughing. You're not supposed to laugh, and you're not supposed to enjoy yourself, and you're not supposed to do these things. And they get angry. The anger is there, and they shout at you. They ignore you. They get upset, and that is where, they even send things on your phone. They fret. Even for me, they threaten to kill me. All of that anger is pent up because they cannot deal with grief. And different people deal with grief differently, but these are the stages of grief. And the anger is where, they don't care. They don't care who. They heard somebody speak about the person. One time they're defensive. Sometimes the person is not saying anything bad about the person. And anger is one of the stages of grief. And you're wondering why that person is always upset. Why is that person always this? Even places that they go to and they might remember the person, they're so upset by the time they reach there, their face, their non-verbal, everything changes. And these are the things you really have to look out when you see you lose a loved one. Or simple things they get upset about. Simple things. And sometimes they direct the anger at no one in particular. And it's just that's it for them. Yes. So these are the things These are some of the symptoms you can feel. And another one is bargaining, you know. And bargaining is you actually reach that stage where you say, okay, I have lost that person for true. And sometimes you say that, but it has not really sink in, you know. And that's one of the things we have to, you know, but we still do not know how to deal with it. You know you've lost the person, but you do not know how to deal with it up to a day like today. And these are some of the stages of grief. And I'm saying that to you because sometimes you go through the process and you don't realize that you're actually going through the process.
True.
And of course, depression, you know, like I said before, depression is one that some persons will go through, and family members, loved ones must recognize these signs and do not shout at that person because different people go through it differently. Do not shout. Do not feel that's something that the person should be over, done and over with for so long. Why you have that person's photo there, or why you still crying over the person, or why you still.
I mean, have not deleted my friend's number off my phone after 7 years.
And I've not deleted my sister's telephone number after so long. And that is one of the things. And sometimes I watch her on Facebook. I'm saying, look at her. Sometimes when I watch different things, I see certain photos of my daughter with her and so on, Sometimes it pops up on your phone. Google sends you photos from how many years ago, and one time it takes a toll on you. Your mood changes. Everything about you change. And people need to understand that. You say, but ou te la tellement bien, just so tipo tu ouais, but gaman yo vini. No. All of that is part of grief, and we need to understand these things.
And sorry, just a minute. In speaking, I'm realizing that I did not send sympathy greetings to my own family. Yes, it has just been a lot.
Who died during
We lost Leandra Fields.
Oh yes.
From Saltibus. Condolences to the Smith family, the LaFontaine and so on, all the families in Saltibus, and the SLP family by extension, because of course we know that she was a very strong SLP supporter. And speaking,
well, I did not know her in that capacity.
Yes, she indeed was. And saying condolences to the family, especially to her sister Vasina. And you were speaking about your sister, and I'm thinking of Vasina because it was very close. And another point that here she was sick for a little while. And I know persons will say something like, but she has been sick for a while and suffering. Why are you still behaving that way? After all, this is still your sister. This is still the person you used to be around and so on. So persons need to show understanding. So of course, again, I'm encouraging persons who have lost a loved one. Like Ms. Wilson said, you may not feel the need for counseling, and we have the stigma attached in St. Lucia that counseling is just people's business. We don't need it. We can go ahead with our lives without it. I'm encouraging persons who have lost a loved one, especially tragically, to seek counseling. And of course, our offices are readily available to you. If we cannot give the counseling, we will direct you to counselors.
And we also have our mental health unit at all our wellness centers. You can go in, find out what days they are available. There is a psychiatrist, nobody comes down. You can get a referral, and then they can take it from there. Yeah?
Okay. Even if you may not be able to reach the social worker's office, a counselor, you can call anyone who knows somebody, and somebody will direct you somewhere.
Very much so.
Okay.
But our mental health team, they are at all our wellness centers, including Soufriere Hospital, and they are readily available. You just have to find out what days that they are there, and then they will guide you. Yeah. So it's not only so both Ministry of Health and Equity, and there are other agencies out there If you want to go to the private sector also, they are readily available to you. So, I mean, help is out there, and our services are free of charge.
Definitely. And please be your brother's keepers, because a lot of times persons who need the counseling, who need the help, will not come up and say, I need help.
No,
It's,
they will not.
yes. So you again need to be your brother's keepers when you realize, okay, for example, this person is crying excessively, or this person has not been eating, this person has just not been bathing. So you need now to encourage this person to seek counseling or call a counselor so that maybe the counselor can reach out. We know that we often tell people persons cannot take counseling if they're not ready or they have not accepted that they cannot take counseling. However, you can reach out for help for this person. And of course, trained professionals will know how to deal with the situation. Okay?
Or sometimes what happens is that when you speak to the trained professionals, they help you cope with these people. They tell you, they guide you so that you can learn to cope with these people. Because if they don't want help and you're the one there with them, after a while you might need the help yourself. And then they can teach you how certain little tips that they can give you to help you, guide you, so that you can cope with these individuals themselves. So sometimes it's not even about the person that is in that situation, but it's about you as an individual that is there to provide that level of support. It does have an effect on you also. So that's one thing we have to really think about also. So sometimes, Miss Bodymet, sometimes you have the physical symptoms whilst you go through the process, the headaches, the fatigue, the restlessness, the heart palpitations, like you all of a sudden you feel your heart beating, like you think of that person and all you think, oh my goodness. I remember once I tell my father, but my check with daddy and whatever, like and I'm always jumpy, like somebody close the door and I'll just jump, and these are the things, all the joint pains, and you don't sleep well at night, your sleeping patterns, and sometimes you don't eat, you have a decrease, sometimes you have a reduced appetite, or sometimes you end up eating as if you have never eaten before. All of that is sometimes like your coping mechanisms, and these are some of the physical symptoms that you really go through. And we have spoken about the emotional symptoms, how you really feel and so on. So these are the things we have to really think about. And I can tell you the process is a slow process for some. Some people, they go through it normal. Some people, it takes a toll on their body. It takes a toll on their family members. It takes a toll on other people around them. So we have to be our support to them.
Most
Yeah.
definitely. Even when, like you were saying again, even when the persons are not crying or not even really um, expressing much hurt, you have to keep an eye on this person, because there is something called, well, it's not a professional term, I'm making it up. They're grieving silently.
Yes.
They're grieving silently, and these persons don't cry. They're like basically numb, emotionally numb. So you have to keep an eye on certain persons, because grief is so bad that sometimes persons have suicidal thoughts. So we have to be our brother's keepers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I know.
So when
Huh?
I said you got lost.
Oh no, I'm not lost.
No,
I'm not lost. So one of the things is that how do you cope? How do you cope? And like I said, self-care is very, very important. And that is one of the things we have to take into consideration. What do we do to take care of ourselves? You know, um,
So when you talk about self-care, Ms. Wilson, give us an example of what one can do to take care of themselves when we speak about self-care. Because every time I hear self-care, sometimes I think of just going to a spa, getting my nails
really,
done, getting my face
really.
done, self-care. But when we
Ah,
speak about self-care, especially for persons who are grieving, give us an example of
is
how
eating
you
your
would go about.
nutritious meals, exercising, because at that time you eat anything you get because you don't feel like cooking, you don't feel like doing this, you don't
Yes.
feel like doing that. So eating your nutritious meals, you exercise, you take time,
Get right.
very much so.
Yes.
You do a little you take a little time for yourself, spend more time in the shower. Normally for me, my self-care is on a Sunday, where I take time to wash my hair, I shave, I do this, I do that. So at that time, that's your little self-care time. So you have to continue your same routine and set a routine for yourself, or else you let yourself go. What is Renita laughing about? And Renita is making fun of me. Can you all believe that? So this is what you need to do. You have to
My apologies.
yes, yeah. And let me tell you.
But can be such a distractor sometimes.
Let me tell you,
My
and
apologies.
these are things you get, and that is expected. But that's the reality, that is the reality. Whether different people, like I said, have different coping mechanism, and you have to stick to your routine, or else you let yourself go. And then when you do these things for your self-care, ensure that you get your number of hours of sleep. And some of us have that sleeping problem. That is when you need to seek medical care, where you have to do a little yoga, a little breathing exercise, a little meditation to help you relax your body. And the breathing exercises works wonders. I can tell you that. To me, when they tell me close my eyes, breathe in, I was like, oh my God, do I really need to do this thing? But in time, with practice, you feel your body is much lighter. The energy within your body is just off the roof. Your brain feels lighter. I don't know if that's how I feel with my breathing exercises. You feel that, you know, and your mind is clear and you get calm. That's when you do not need the medication to calm you down. Yes, you get calm. Your body is calm. You in a position of rest, and that is what we need to do. That's all part of our self care. So if we're having problems sleeping, sometimes we have to seek medical care. But these are the things that we need to do to get off the meds: the breathing exercises, the yoga, taking time to exercise. And I can tell you, the meditation, it really, really helps. And that works wonders. And listening to this kind of soothing music, not this boom, 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 like I hear my daughter rap there, cuss there, this there. Not that. Soothing music, like a waterfall, like you hear the waves on the beach, and so on. These kind of things calm you down. It works if you really put your mind to it. It's not part of our culture and our norm, so but then it really, really helps calm you. Even when I'm on my desktop working, I will put it on YouTube whilst I'm doing my work to calm me. And it calms you down. And these are the things that you really can do as part of your self care. It doesn't have to be when you're at home, it can be whilst you're at work. And whilst you're driving, all of these things can really help out. So self care is very, very important. And one of the things is that, while doing self-care, you're not supposed to feel guilty about it. And a lot of people feel guilty. Like my sister is not then I'm making myself look so pretty. But what I say to myself is that she would want me to look pretty. And she would say, Louisa, Lola, she would want me to dress up. And that is one of the things that, that makes me, feel like I need that self-care moment for myself. Yeah. So that is one of the coping mechanisms. And then we need to stick to our routine. And you have to go to work, you have to do this. So you have to stick to your routine to make sure, because life continues. And people don't understand that life continues. So if you stay in a deep depression, you might lose your job, so you stick to your routine. I have to wake up, I have to bathe, I have to go to work. I'll have my good days, I'll have my bad days. When I have my bad days, how I deal with it. When I have my good days, how I deal with it. You stick to your routine, and then you try to control things like, okay, I need to make sure I have my meals prepared, a healthy meal, at least a fruit, at least a vegetable. I need to eat at that particular time. And one of these things is you have to ensure you have routine, because if you don't, one of the things that will happen to you is you forget to eat. You're so stuck in your own emotions, you forget to eat, you forget to do many things that you're supposed to do.
And even when you don't feel like eating, you don't have the appetite to eat.
You need to eat. Yeah. Munch on something, at least a fruit. And then you make it as your routine, because your body needs to function. Your body needs the energy. You cannot have a weak immune system. You understand? A weak immune system is predisposing you to so many different things. And that's what we need to continue. So you have to set your routine, your meals, your exercise, the time you wake up in the morning. And when you wake up, what you start doing first, second, third. And it really helps you to get through, because like I said, life continues. And then you have to attend to your emotions. The day you feel like crying, cry. The day you feel like you want to stay there and stay into space, you stay into space and you get out of it and you move on. The day you see the person picture and you feel like your heart start beating fast, practice your breathing exercises. And these are the things we have to do.
So if you feel like laughing,
go ahead and laugh.
And don't feel guilty about
And don't feel guilty about laughing. Sometimes you feel like crying in the middle of the night. You wake up and you feel like crying. Go ahead and cry. You understand? You have to deal with your emotions as time goes by.
And something else I meant to mention earlier, when we spoke about speaking to yourself, well, speaking to the person who's not there is actually a technique in therapy where they call the empty chair, where they have you tell the loved one who's no longer there, this person, how would you feel, or what you'd like to tell them. So you now speaking to your loved one like they're there, it is not something to feel guilty about or ashamed of, and feel okay. Me na pet maybe my bola. Yes, if you do it excessively, then of course you need to get professional help. But of course, once in a while, if you were like, I really miss you, so take that, I don't take effect.
Exactly.
So it's okay to do that. And not sure if you'd mentioned it, we're having a very strong support system.
Very much so. That is coming into to reach out to others.
Yes.
And to speak to a therapist or somebody. And one of the things is that reaching out to others really helps out. I remember when I went through it, I went to a friend of mine and she said, Louisa, stay by me and sleep. And I sat there and she gave me my space. And then I said, girl, I am feeling drained. And the night The night she rubbed me down. She rubbed me down. I don't know. She had everything underneath the sun, from Vicks to everything. She rubbed me down. All kinds of oils, all kind of fixture. She rubbed, I think everything she had on her, she rubbed me down. And then what happened is that, and I fell asleep. I fell asleep. And she said to me, she had to be she did not sleep that night because she felt that I wouldn't wake up. I was so fatigued. I was sleeping. She's not hearing me breathe. Every time she had to check on me. And that is the time where you say, oh my goodness, your body really needs, yes. And it takes that toll on you, because if you don't, and that's the thing, you don't eat properly, you don't sleep properly, but after a while your body will be on shutdown. So that is when you reach out to others, very good friends and family and loved ones. They know how to take care of you. Allow them to take care of you. Don't be too dependent on them, but allow them to take care of you. And that's what you need. And that's what I needed. I needed that. And I slept throughout. I wake up around 9 o'clock, and that's not my norm. And so on. And she said, girl, I did not know what to do. I am freaking out, but I don't want to wake you up because I'm seeing you so tired. Yeah, your body gives you sign that it needs it. But when you reach out to others, very good people, they do take care of you, and that's exactly what you need. And then one of the nurses, I think it was at Etangs, and the nurse called me. It was Nurse Eloise and Nurse Sam. And they called me and they said, Miss Wilson, we want you to come to Etangs Wellness Center. And when I reached there, they tell me a massage is being, you need to do a massage, and the masseuse is there. Come and do a massage. And that was the best thing ever for me. I needed that, the knots, and oh my goodness. So, it can be co-workers, loved ones, reach out and get that support that you need.
Allow them to do it. Because
yes.
Some persons are so closed up that, okay, I've lost, for an example, some persons may feel, okay, I've lost my mom, I've lost my brother, I've lost my sister, I've lost people really dear to me. So right now, I'm pushing everybody away, everybody at arm's length, because I'm afraid to love again.
Yes.
Afraid that that person will be taken away because everybody I love seems to be disappearing. So I'm not going to love again. Okay, so when you get to that point, of course, again, we're lamenting on the importance of getting professional help. Get a therapist, because if you get to that point, this is really a dark place and it's a lot to pull you back. So you need to have a therapist, just like you have your dentist on hand, you have your general practitioner, you have your physician on hand. It's always wise to have a therapist on hand as well, because you really do need professional help when you are going through a process of grieving.
Yeah, but our culture does not lend to that. And that's one thing we have to change, and we have to change slowly. Let people gradually, yes.
Not being dealt with. A lot of trauma is not being dealt with, and you let it manifest, and of course, the outcome is never good.
And that is the problem. And that is what we need to start educating our community and so on. When these things happen to you, you need, it can be a 1 or 2 time counseling.
Yeah.
And take it from there. And some people, they gravitate towards the alcohol, they gravitate towards the smoking. I too, I drink a few little shots too, I know I tell you. But then a friend of mine, after a while I stopped, and then a friend of mine say, Lisa, you're not drinking, whatever. I said, no, I'm grieving. I cannot continue to drink. And she said, okay, would you like something non-alcoholic? I said, no, that's okay. I'll just have water. I said, when you say no, I mean a sweet drink or something. I said, no, I'll just have water.
And I'm happy that you were in a place that you were strong enough and in a position enough to recognize that you were drinking.
Yeah.
And you needed to stop. But what about the person
that cannot
does
stop?
not stop, or and somebody else would come and say, like you're saying, it's a norm in our society where somebody will say, let the person drink, they're grieving, let the person have their drink. we need to stop that because drinking excessively is harmful to your body, and also drinking is addictive.
It is. It
So
is.
sometimes when you want to stop, you cannot stop. So if you realize that somebody have lost a loved one and you're
Mhm.
drinking excessively, you need to get help for this person. You need to encourage this person to stop drinking.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I gave the Jack Daniels a good bitter licks, but
Yes.
at the same
So
time, sometimes some people know when to stop, some people
they
don't,
don't
like you
know.
said. So
Yes, so you need persons, like I said, a strong support system, whether it be your family, whether it be your friends. Because if you're listening to Miss Wilson, you would have noticed that she has a very strong support system because she
very much
has
so.
this friend here calling her this friend. So whether it be you may not have all these friends or even a family member, but sometimes you have this particular person, lean on this person and get the help, allow this person to help you. If you don't have a support system, you don't have family or friends who are that supportive,
Mhm.
get somebody, get a professional, walk into an office. It can be you walk into the hospital, and if that's not where you need to be, of course,
They will
most
guide
times the
you.
hospitals will guide you. They'll make a call and tell you, okay, you don't have to be there, but go to somewhere you know. If you're by a school, walk into a school
Mm-hmm.
and they will guide you. They will get you the help. So seek help, get the help. And if you know of somebody who needs the help, who's not getting the help, seek the help for this person. Yes,
Yeah, that's the thing, and they have to be willing to accept the help too.
definitely.
So that's one of the things that we really need to be mindful of. But like you said, Miss Bodymet, um, we need now to kind of, as health professionals and as well as yourself, we need to now start introducing our community to the services that are there, and to, you know, kind of help them through that process, that transition, into accepting the help that is readily available, and to help community members to understand that there is no stigma attached to it.
Definitely.
And that is one of the things that really shy away people from coming to get that level of help. The stigma, the moment they see you and they see you in that section, but I sorry, but about it. No, the
Yes,
person
very
is
much
there.
so.
That doesn't mean the person has
Yeah.
a mental illness. The person can
It's
just come for counseling, for
and it's
guidance.
really
Sometimes it
sad.
doesn't have to be
Yeah,
for that person, it can be for another individual, and
definitely.
so on. So sometimes we as community members, we tend to judge, and we judge wrongly. We need to be mindful of that. Oh, ishili mo pa sa kwekale. You understand? People say
Yes,
these
very much
things,
so.
and you need to be mindful of these things. So that can really have an impact on individuals. And I want community members to think of what they say, how they say it, when they say it, and to whom they say it to. And I want all of us to think about these things, because I mean the process, I can tell you, is not an easy process, and the support is really really needed. Another thing, through everything, our grief and so on, people need to be mindful what they put on their phones and what they post. I see it all the time, and I don't think people understand these things. I do not know if they seek popularity. I do not know if they seek fame, or if they feel that is the level of support that they can give, but that is not the level of support that persons need. I need people to understand that. And sometimes you, as a friend of a person, and just by watching somebody's status, and sometimes you see certain things and it hits you, and it hits you hard, because you don't expect to see these things, and people to need to be mindful when you put your statuses out there, especially when people lose their loved ones and so on, or the accidents, or the pictures of the people. I mean, like we said, once you post, it is there for a lifetime online. And we need to be mindful of these things. Respect people's privacy, especially when things like that happens to people. Posting does not mean that that is a level of support that the person needs. Yeah? Or you can post something that shocked me is that I was watching somebody, is a friend of mine, well, a family member, and I'm watching a post and I'm seeing somebody in a coffin. And I say, but why would you post the picture of the person on a coffin? I know it's your phone, it's your personal phone. But at the same time, maybe I did not even know the person passed away, and the person might have been a family member of mine or a relative of mine. Or somebody, in seeing that, it really hits me and it brings memories of another loved one of mine that might have been close to that person. And I'm saying this because I think social media and these things are now having an impact on people that are going through that level of trauma, that level of grief, and it's making it worse at times. And we need to be mindful of what we post. Some people are too quick and eager to post. I'm saying this especially to our community, and I find that's one of the things that our community members partake in quite a bit. Surely, I don't think that's a level of support that the family member or loved one would like, rather than anything else. You can show that level of support and love in a different way. And it's like as soon as a person you finish post and thing, everybody else goes back to their merry way, and you'll forget about that person that has been traumatized, that has been in grief, and so on. After months, have you actually gone back and check on that person? Saying how is things, everything is okay. Do you know? I mean, these are the things, that is a level of support that one needs when they grieve, when they're grieving or they're going through grief or so on. Not when you post. It does not cut it. And I want people to be mindful of that, especially within our community. Be mindful, be respectful, and the support that the person needs, it doesn't need to be on social media all the time or on your phones and so on. So that's what I really
You could
want
as
to.
well to add more to it, that for example, yesterday, I was just speaking about the passing of my cousin Leandra, and somebody called to ask whether she passed, and of course I wasn't sure, and the person sent back to tell me, yes, she did pass. I did not just take my phone and started posting RIP. I reached out to family members and I allowed them to post first. I allowed them to post a photo, and after I realized that they had now posting a photo, I put mine up. So this sometimes you have to be mindful of the family. Find out what is happening, because sometimes the family members have not posted up, they don't even know, and there you are posting. So well said.
And that can be a shock to people, eh? You know that?
Very much so. Well said, Miss Wilson. Because
A very
sometimes
big
you
shock.
you find out things. A brother. I remember there was an incident where somebody's brother passed away. In an accident, and they saw it on somebody's post, and that's how they knew the brother passed away. So allow the families to find out what is happening before we go ahead and put it on the
Yes.
status. Like we were saying earlier, you don't feel the brunt of something until it reaches your doorstep. So we need to now be very empathetic. I believe right now our society has lost empathy.
Very much so.
We don't feel empathetic towards others. Empathy meaning that, hey, put yourself in my shoes. How would you react if I did that to you? If it were you, how would you behave? Okay? So the same way you would feel hurt, you will feel angry, the other person will feel so. So let us be a little more empathetic. Let us practice empathy a lot more. And like Ms. Wilson was saying, yes, our office, Division of Human Services, the Equity, is open. It's in Soufriere opposite Miss Sandra's boutique. We are open to you. Many times, persons shy away from coming to such offices or even coming to the hospital to you and so on because you other persons have so much to say. As soon as they come to that, gosh, Elijah, is she no problem? And the continues.
That is so
Okay?
true.
So let us be mindful of that because, like I said, I may have an issue and I need help. For example, I need to get the number for wellness center, and I only know Miss Wilson at the hospital. I will call the hospital. I don't want to speak to anybody at the hospital, but I want direction. I want help. So I'm going to call her. I'll call the hospital and ask the hospital, do you have a number for the wellness center? Because that's not who I want to speak to, but I'm seeking help. So not because somebody comes into a particular office or so on, that you have to go on and say, God dang, ikay wa Miss Wilson, lahi pa ipuge we met lai, ikay made Miss Wilson edi. Okay? So we have to be mindful of what we say because it affects others. Certain situations are very ticklish and it takes a lot of courage to get help. It takes a lot of courage to go into certain establishments to seek the help. So let us not chastise, let us not criticize. And that stigma attached to counseling, that stigma attached to seeking help. Let us learn to break this because we have our traumas. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I think we have said what we need to say, even more in a nutshell. But I feel I feel what is happening in our community. But amidst all, I think persons in our community now. It happens in every community, but when it happens closer to you, it's different. The feeling is different. And I want persons to be mindful of all of that.
Yeah, because when it hits you, then you'll say, oh, now I
Yeah.
understand what you were
And
saying.
when you see the loved ones of these people, it really, you really do not know what to say to them or how to say it sometimes. But just to sit and keep quiet. Yeah.
And very important point that you just made, that sometimes when somebody passes away and you see somebody saying you accept my sympathy, it angers you. It really angers you. You don't want to hear that. So what I've been trying to do now, I send a praying hand or I send a hug. I send something else instead of saying accept my sympathy or sorry for your loss. Sometimes when you're really hurting, you don't want to hear these things. You don't want to hear that. Sometimes just a squeeze of a shoulder, a pat on the back, a little rub on
It
the back.
goes a
It
long
goes
way.
a very long way. Or you start questioning. You see the person. So Lisa sa TV.
Kimne mo
Oh my
Feitse.
God. Mahav, si c'était moi. Mahav ki mo di kay fayo. Mate sa mahav ki mo ni fay, ki mo ni point. And we need to refrain. Don't do that. Refrain from that. Because
Different people handle it differently.
Yes,
Yes, people ask me that up to a day like today, and even now people call me my sister's name. They don't. They call me and I just smile and I said yes, and I just move along.
Yes. Well, that's an honest mistake. It can be an honest mistake. But like certain times you hear, for example, somebody has been in an accident, the person passed away. First thing somebody says, they're not asking, are you okay? How are you coping? They'll be like, Vwe, kimane mo? Mate sav, kimane ka fe, siti mo bote na mo tuwi. And that is how.
Yeah, they do.
Yes. And this is how some people cope. I'm sorry, they react.
Just go on munsa mo boss ako pon komwe.
Like you've ever heard when you say somebody, you say sapafwe, uvleti mo oui, okay. Sapafwe, di mo ako. So we need to now change certain behaviors, because in certain things that we do,
Mm.
certain ways that we react, we re-traumatize.
Yes,
We
you can say, I've heard
re-traumatize.
of your loss. How are you coping?
Exactly.
You know,
Yes.
take one day at a time.
And breathe. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So refrain from making certain comments.
So what you say, it's how you say it
Yes,
sometimes.
because like I said earlier, you'll be like, me and you make certain remarks like Qu'est-ce fait quoi? Mais depuis je vois mon maladie qu'a souffert imo, qu'a fait quoi?
Or some persons will say,
Right.
Depi jamuna mo still ka ni die
no.
low, still ni had no happy. That is that person's that is that person's way of dealing with it.
Yes.
And so on. Why are you still wearing black and white? The person died for so long. I've heard people say that, and I'm
Yes,
wondering,
I
why
have.
would you tell the person that?
I
That has
have.
nothing to do with you.
Yeah, and say, but since the little person died, why are you still crying and so on?
Mhm.
So we need to be very mindful of what we say and how we say it. Because again, put yourself in the person's shoes, as we say it in our layman terms. Let us practice empathy, because
Mhm.
how would you feel if it was you?
Or they spread rumors about the person, or now they want to say, the person is now past. People live their life, but not as a person die for you to start saying all these things about that person. These
Right.
things are bad. When it reaches the loved ones, it's really hurtful to
Because
some
they're
of them.
really feeling
Yeah.
the hurt of losing this loved one, as you now spreading propaganda.
Yes.
Yes, so again, I'm going to say thank you very much. I'm going to let Ms. Wilson end as well, but I'd like to say to persons who are grieving, persons who have lost their loved one, it is very important to seek help. If you do not want to come to a professional, go to a friend, go to a family member.
A trusted friend.
Yes, speak to somebody who can, of course, get you help. As I said earlier, our doors are open at Ministry of Equity, my office, serving Soufre and Chozel or whoever. You can call us at 457-1645, 457-1645. You can call us, you can walk into our office. I'm sorry, I do not know the streets really in Soufre, but I'm located opposite Miss Sandra's boutique, like I direct persons, higher up West Tech behind Peter Management. So feel free to come in, feel free to seek help. Okay, so
It's Danny Alexander.
Danny Alexander.
Lower Victoria Street.
Danny Alexander,
Yeah,
Lower
yeah,
Victoria
you're on
Street.
Lower Victoria Street.
I'm Lower Victoria Street. Thank you very much.
Having said that, Ms. Bodimet, I think one thing we forget to mention, don't forget our children in the process too. The grieving process, they too go through the grief, and we need to be mindful and observe them carefully, because sometimes we tend to forget our children, especially our teenagers. I think I am a product of that, especially our teenagers. Be mindful of what they go through and so on. And even in the schools, what other children say to them through bullying when they have lost a loved one. And what happens is that sometimes our adults speak about these persons' loved ones in front of their children. And the children come back in the school and they say to these children that are already grieving, I want us to be mindful of all of that. So I made a note of that, but I forget to mention it. I want us to be very, very mindful what we say in front of our children, and when our children go to the school, how they bully the other children that are actually going through that trauma themselves. So think of all of these things before you speak. And our children, they do take it so hard. And when they hear people speak about their loved ones in certain light, it does not go down easy like you would want to say, and their behavior, their attitude, and everything changes about them. Sometimes we cause these kind of problems. Yeah.
Yes, and parents, just a little note again, please speak to your children, parents, and let us not just speak to our children, parents, let us model behavior. because you cannot tell your child not to do something and you are doing it.
Mhm.
Let us model behavior. So know what you say in the presence of your child, because they go out there to the schools to see. I can remember I got a complaint some time ago, even hearing stories that a particular child told another one, you should die like your father. You don't see how your father died? You should die like your father, and so on. And when a complaint was made to the parent said, but the child father died. So, so the lack of empathy, the way we behave, know that if the tables were turned, how would you feel? So let us be mindful of that. And parents, let us teach our children by modeling behavior. Be careful of what you say in their presence, because they come out and bring it out there. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Bodymet. I think that's all I have to say.
So till next Wednesday, thank you for listening. And to everybody again who have lost a loved one, all our love to you and our support to you. All the best. Thank you. I look forward to having you here again, hopefully next Wednesday. And
Not me.
no,
Oh.
no, Miss Wilson. I'm saying I'm looking forward
Oh, the
to
listeners.
here.
I'm already running away.
Always a pleasure having you, Miss
It is a
Wilson.
pleasure,
Yes.
likewise. But don't come on.
All
I'm
the
just
best.
kidding. I love coming on the show because this time I'm not the host. I'm actually, one of those that is actually presenting, and I kind of love it. It's nice to be on another show.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Yes.
All the best. Yes.